Dear Disney, I am Coffee on Korriban. I'm a 26-year-old father of two daughters. I live in Tennessee, and I am your target demographic. Hello, and welcome back to Coffee on Korriban, where it's a very different video. Normally, we do Star Wars, we do live streams, discussions, reactions, that sort of stuff. This is a little bit different. I don't get political on this channel. I've tried to keep that out of it. But with Disney being the owner of Star Wars and Star Wars being the thing that I love so much, I felt like I had to say something, especially as a father. It's really important to me. So if you're not into this sort of video, don't watch it. Just wait till my next live stream. Um, I'm just a concerned father, and I'm putting my voice out there. That's all I'm doing. So, first off, I want to start off by saying what this video is not. The point of this video is not the following. I'm not calling for a boycott of Disney. I'm not telling other people what to do with their money, with their time, with their interests. I'm not getting into that. I'm not calling for a boycott. Not saying let's all go out and march against Disney. Nothing like that. I'm not trying to spread any false information or conspiracy theories. That's not my goal. I'm not attempting to convert anyone into the way that I'm thinking. This is my personal beliefs, the way that I have my values aligned, and how that relates to Disney. It's just me and my values. It's absolutely not a video against any ethnic or racial groups. Some of the statements that Disney has made have to do with that. That is absolutely not what I'm talking about in this video. My allegiance, if you guys watching it at all have a problem with my values, are straight from the Bible. My values are as biblical as I can possibly make them. So if you disagree with how I feel about certain things, take it up with God directly, because that's where my allegiance is. That's where I get my authority from. My authority is the Bible, is Scripture, is God Himself, as best as I can. I'm a hypocrite. I'm a Christian. I'm a sinful person, but I'm trying. That's where I get my value set from. This is not a video of hate or a call to violence to anyone of any particular community, because obviously calls to violence are illegal. That's not free speech, and we don't want to be hateful. Absolutely not. We're called as Christians to speak truth in love. And one of my favorite quotes from our old pastor was, "To speak the truth without love is brutality, but to speak love without truth is hypocrisy." So I'm attempting to keep a balance of the truth and love. You cannot forsake truth just because you want to appear loving or appease other people. That's not what I can do. I can't do that. But at the same time, I cannot abandon truth. Okay. I cannot abandon truth. So to get into the video, dear Disney, I am your target demographic. And what I mean by that is, if anyone is going to spend money, time, any kind of investment into Disney, it would be me. I am your target demographic. I grew up in Disneyland, essentially. I've talked about it a few times on the channel. My childhood, I could be sure of two things at all times. There was going to be food on the table, and there was going to be annual passes in my dad's wallet. It was just, we lived 20 minutes from Disneyland in Anaheim, California, and we would go there once or twice a week for the majority of my childhood. Not only that, I watched almost exclusively Disney, specifically the movies, the Disney movies. I didn't watch Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, really didn't even watch DreamWorks. I still have not seen Shrek to this day. I don't really plan on it because I'm, an adult now. But I grew up on Disney. Disney was my childhood. It was such a huge part of my childhood. The Lion King, Tarzan, Little Mermaid, Cinderella, like all these movies, Beauty and the Beast, are essential to my childhood, and they shaped the way I view music and visual storytelling and movies in general. Is just Disney was a huge part of my childhood. And I'm indebted to Disney for that. I love Disney, loved, I should say, Disney as a company. My daughters love Disney. Both I have an 11-month-old and an almost 3-year-old. My almost 3-year-old loves Frozen, both movies. She loves both movies, and of course, we've skipped over parts because she's 2. But the songs from it, she loves. My wife always puts on Disney lullabies for them. All the music, I know all the words. I'm a Disney fan, um, and beyond that, I'm the one spending the money. Myself as the father, I'm the one spending their money, and I am, like I said, Disney's target demographic. If they want anyone to spend money on their product, I would be that person. Um, I, I'm exactly right who they're targeting. Someone who grew up watching Disney, who loves Disney, who now wants to pass that on to their children because now I'm the one spending the money. It's not my dad's money anymore. It's me. I'm the head of my household. I want to spend the money on Disney. But my duty is to my family. It is not to Disney. It's not the company. It's not your company that my duty is to. I don't owe you anything. Now, I cannot allow indoctrination of my children that's contrary to my values. And that phrase might catch a lot of people off guard, that indoctrination. It's a really scary word that we don't really understand the meaning of these days. Indoctrination is not just a negative thing. Your kids will be indoctrinated with something. Children are a blank slate. I have a 2.5-year-old. She soaks up everything. She is a blank slate. She knows nothing about how the world works or anything that happens in the world, but what she is taught. Is she going to be taught that stuff from me or from a company that has a particular agenda? And that's where I'm coming from with this. Children will be indoctrinated with something. It's what they're going to be indoctrinated with that is the question. That's what's so important. So when Disney has a goal of teaching my child values that are contrary to my own, which again, my values come from the Bible as close as I can. It's always the goal of the Christian, is to line yourself up with Christ and with Scripture in general. But that's where I try to get my values from, is from Scripture. I'm open about that. So when I see an agenda being pushed by a corporation, specifically marketing towards my children, that doesn't line up with that, that is indoctrination that is misaligned with the indoctrination that I am trying with my own children. And again, that phrase indoctrination might hit some people the wrong way, but I'm really trying to indoctrinate my children the correct way with the correct doctrine. I'm trying to get them aligned with proper doctrine, proper worldview, that sort of stuff. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So when Disney says explicitly that they have a gay agenda, in the videos that have come out, I'm not going to link them in the description or anything. I'm not going to play them. It's just you can look it up for yourself. And if you don't even need the video, you know what Disney has been trying to do. But now they're open about it. They're explicit about saying that they have a gay agenda. And again, I mean no specific harm to anyone in any communities. That's not the point of this video. But when they say that they need to have at least a minimum, at least a minimum of 50% LGBTQ AIP, however many letters it is now, and minorities, again, excluding the minorities because race has nothing to do with this. That's not a value set. That's something you're born with. And I don't treat people different based on things that they can't control, such as race or gender or whatever. I don't treat people different based on that. So race, leave that out of it. That's not part of this video. But when they say they need to have a minimum quota of these characters, that doesn't line up with my values. Disney used to, in theory, be about childhood innocence. And of course, there's, pedals in Lion King spelling out certain words, and animators throw stuff in. That's a given, right? But the theory of Disney used to be preserve your childhood innocence. Wish upon a star, you are a child, enjoy being a child. That was their goal, not sexual proclivities. I don't want my 2-year-old learning about immoral lifestyles. that is not aligned with what I teach her. I don't want her hearing that from someone else. Um, and I will say, and I have to stand firm in my truth. Again, you can't abandon truth for love. Um, Otherwise, that's hypocrisy. Homosexuality, transgenderism, sexual licentiousness is wrong. And that doesn't mean I go after people that live that way, because people have all sorts of things that they're into. I struggle with, I don't want to get a whole lot into it. Pride is one of them. Lack of remorse. I have my own issues that I deal with. I'll readily admit that, and maybe I'll talk about that in a future video. Maybe not on this channel, but sometime in the future, because I want to be open about that sort of things. A good test that I've always viewed on if something is appropriate for children, and now that I'm a father for my children to consume, is if someone can't come up to them in public, let's say on a playground, let's say a man can't come up to my child and say whatever it is to them on a playground without it being creepy, then it doesn't belong in movies. I don't want that. So for example, if someone were to come up to my daughter and be like, "Hey, do you ever find yourself attracted to other little girls? Do you ever feel like you're actually a boy? Like, what are your parents teaching you the wrong thing? Like, your dad said that it's not right for a man to love another man, but you know what? Maybe your parents are wrong." Like, if that would be inappropriate for someone to say to my daughter on a playground, then it doesn't belong in a movie. Like, "Hey, have you ever known what are your sexual interests?" Like, if someone was not allowed to say that to my child, which is completely gross and stuff, you can imagine where I'm getting at this, then I don't want that pushed on my child in a movie. I'm trying to be as blunt as I can about this while still remaining truthful and loving. Again, truth in love is the goal. If it's a company making adult-oriented movies, that's one thing. If it's a PG-13 and it has a lesbian couple in it, that isn't a big deal. I probably wouldn't watch the movie just because, again, that doesn't line up with my values. But that's one thing. But Disney is marketed as being exclusively geared towards children. All the animated shows are geared towards children. But when I see them creepily push this sort of messaging into those explicitly children movies, the children's content, that the movies that are geared towards, let's say under 14-year-old, whatever, the magic in my eyes has left the kingdom. It's now, I guess, maybe they're happy about it, but the wokest place on earth. And it's not something I can get behind. It's sad for me. So as someone who grew up on Disney, I can't appreciate that. And so I'll say to Disney this: you will not sexually groom my children. And it sounds harsh, but that is what it is. It's grooming. It is sexual grooming from a corporation of pedophiles. That is what it is. When you are teaching my child about sexual lifestyles, and that comes from you and not from me, that's a problem. That is grooming my children. And of course, they're going to hear things from TV shows or music that's on in the background. They're going to get exposed to stuff. I get that in the real world. But when it's your goal to expose them to certain things, that is grooming my children. And I cannot be okay with that. It used to be with kids shows. Like, if you knew a movie was for kids, of course it's going to have references in there that only the adults are going to get, and things that the animators put in for keen-eyed viewers to pick up on. But it used to be when a show was a kids show, you could generally press play and breathe easy. This is, of course, before I had children, because mine are still young. They're both under 3. But it used to be Disney. Oh, that's kids movies. Like, it's for the whole family to enjoy. It's honest. It's genuine. It's innocent. It's Disney. Those things are synonymous. And of course, I try to screen everything that my daughter watches, my oldest daughter. I'll try to watch at least the first couple episodes of a new show that she wants to watch with her. And if there's anything that I see that I don't want her learning, then I don't let her do that. Just if there was a movie that was, very heavy on violence, She gets scared easy, so we don't watch anything like that. We had to skip through most of Finding Nemo anyway. Those sharks are scary. Darla was scary in that. She was she was traumatized by that. But even violence, I wouldn't want to expose my daughter to that stuff. And of course, when my daughter's older, I'll talk to her about, the homosexuality. This is what it is. But I want it to be on my terms from a biblical perspective, not a corporation grooming my children into believing what they want my child to believe when they know it's contrary to what I may want my child to believe. So this puts me in a really tough spot because I love Disney. My daughter loves Frozen, all things, Grogu, Disney princesses, all, how girls are with Disney stuff. But I will not be buying any Disney merch. The Disney merchandise that you see in stores, Mickey Mouse shirt, I will not be buying any of that from now on. I cannot support that. I'm not paying for Disney Plus. Will not be paying for Disney Plus or anything like that. ESPN, Hulu, whatever the bundle is now. I won't be paying money for that. I will be taking my money elsewhere. And I do mean that sincerely. It will be spent on other platforms that don't stand against my values. I won't buy any Star Wars collectibles or items that were made under Disney. I cannot. I'll start getting expensive vintage stuff if I have to. But I won't be buying any Disney Star Wars stuff. I won't be buying any Disney branded items. I just the other day bought a foam soap dispenser with Elsa on it and a toothbrush with Anna on it for my daughter. But I will not be buying anything that is Disney branded from now on. I love Star Wars. That's the goal of this channel. And I'm really saddened by what Disney has become. From someone who grew up on Disney, who considered Disneyland almost a second home to me. It's where you went on a Saturday. I was homeschooled. My mom would take us and our schoolwork into Disneyland, and my school day would literally be ride a roller coaster, do your math, ride a roller coaster, do your language. It's really, really sad for me, and it grieves my soul what Disney has become. From what it meant, from that innocence. And even when going to Disneyland as a teenager, as like 14, 15, being able to relish in, just riding Pirates of the Caribbean, which isn't a very entertaining ride from a thrill standpoint, but going and riding that ride and just sitting there and reminiscing and all that nostalgia. I have tons of nostalgia for Disney, as I'm sure probably most people in America do. But if that agenda specifically is brought into Star Wars, again, for the purpose of promoting that agenda, I will quit Star Wars. At least the new Star Wars. The prequels and the originals, they always have a place in my heart, even Clone Wars. But I will not be buying into and watching and enjoying and breaking down, reacting to any of the new Star Wars if that is what they're going to put in it. And that makes me really sad. It really does. And again, I don't mean any specific harm to gays, lesbians, anyone a part of that community. Even, I don't care how you vote, even if you vote a different way than I do, or you have a different economic policy that I do. That's not the point. I don't mean any harm to you, but I have to draw my line in the sand. I cannot bring values that are contrary to my own, contrary to the Bible, contrary to what God's values are. I cannot bring that willingly into my home when it is meant to indoctrinate my children contrary to what I believe. And I know I'm just one voice in the sea. I get it. There's millions of other parents in this country. And maybe they don't all feel the way I do. Maybe I'm the only one who feels this way. And I know Disney will never watch this video, at least not 19 and a half minutes through this video. So I don't expect to be heard. But to wrap up, I'm the one paying the bills. I am the head of my household. I am the one consuming your product. If anyone is going to spend money, it should be me. I grew up in Disneyland, grew up on Disney. I have all the nostalgia. I have children that want to consume Disney products, and I want to consume Disney products, but I can't. So Disney, I am your target demographic. and you have lost me. I'm sorry to say. So thank you everyone for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate your time. May the stash be with you, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.